Hello and welcome. Are we safe as the rains set in? Why do I ask this question? Well, just about a year ago, 3rd of June last year, there came a downpour in the evening, and that caused a major disaster, which really, somebody would say, knocked us for six. Being a chief, I always go back into our traditions. You tend to realize that village after village, town after town, they all have an oath that they swear by. And they do that because at some time in history, some incident happened. And for that not to happen again, they say an oath and they repeat it over and over and over. And I will say, Mika Akwamu Hine Yaoda, which means whatever happened on that fateful Thursday, we make sure it never happen again. And I call it the spirit of never again. But somewhere along the line, whether through civilization, whether through enlightenment, we lost it. And the more we get educated, the more we repeat our sins. And we seem to just sit and let things happen over and over and over again. And as the rain set in, considering the magnitude and the tragedy that befell us, are we going to sit and literally lose the spirit that made our ancestors swear by not to make things happen to us again? Or indeed, have we made enough effort to avert floods in the city? That's what we're here to talk about. But it will only happen if you are concerned and you demand accountability. My name is Nana Ansakwa IV, Kwamwedu Masahini, and also your host. When I come back, you'll be hearing stories, harrowing stories, and then we'll be looking ahead to see what are we going to do. Don't move.
Sana tebu ni ejina so nsuo ni hwe nti nsuo ni hwe na mo gina this side say ni say mo hwe mo chi say eja ne eba eja ne ba na me de mi dwane ja no ka no wo nsuo ni nsuo mo na ejiri fire na fire service for de ahoma e be twetwe ye free efio ti enkofo wu papa.
Okay, I got actually when I got a job at the place, the woman is she's called Mercy, and she has opened Mercy Catering System. I used to go and help her, and she would give me a day, 5 cedi a day. But right now, I've stopped.
Why? The money is not enough?
Not that the money is not enough.
You just stopped? Or you had a fight with Mercy?
No, I didn't have any.
At all? Do you think what happened last year can happen again?
Yeah, we are afraid that it can happen again.
Why? What makes you feel so sure that it can happen again?
Because of how it rains, and we heard that this house they will sold this place, so and maybe if they can help us look for another place to stay. I want to move from this place to go and stay at
another place.
I used to go up and down. You know, it's Accra. You can sit down and live. You see. So I used to do 1 2 1 2 for my whole living.
Where 1 2 1 2 means what? What did you used to do?
My business. Sometimes I used to find room for people.
You are an agent?
I'm an agent.
Mm-hmm. What else?
Sometimes barbering. I say I was a barber during my youth. So this old man, all the time they do come again.
They come to you?
Yeah.
Since then, have you been comfortable? Is your life better now?
Oh no, things are very bad for us. So we are only waiting. Maybe something can happen. Yeah, we don't know.
But are you still waiting? Because it's been a year. The disaster has happened. One would have imagined that you will have moved on by now.
We depend upon God. So I say the change will come from God.
I didn't feel happy at all in my heart.
Did you lose a friend?
No, but I know one of my friends which like his face and his hand got bent. And I told him that so far as you are alive, you will give thanks to God. If you haven't dead.
Did you get injured that day? Did you get hurt or injured?
Oh no. No, I didn't get any. But it was the water. It was like I was like to die in the water. That's what made me afraid.
Okay. So from that time till now, how's your life been? Have you changed the way you do things? Where you go? When it's raining, what happens to you?
Yeah, it was something like that. If it's raining now, I again to be afraid of when it's raining, it will be flood again. So I don't think like if it's raining, I will not think that if it started raining, I'll find some place where the rain it will not worry me, so that I'll be safe on my life.
Are we safe as the rains set in? And this is one disaster which Ghana should avert at all costs. And indeed, if our ancestors were there, because Ghana June 3rd, the same video, Yemane end to Yebium. But today we are all enlightened. So, which model or how it is that we're going to make sure it does not happen again? With me in the studio is Joyce Ankra, who was right there in the thick of things and as you call a survivor. Joyce, you're welcome.
Thank you.
And then I have Bright Etonam Koda, who's a public safety officer. Bright, you're welcome. Good. Joyce, obviously I'll start with you. And you were there. Just a little brief as to, what happened. Were you asleep when it started raining, or you were going about your daily chores before it happened? How did it start with you?
I used to sell Indomie in front of our gate. But that day the rain starts very early, like 5 that way. So I said, today let me sleep so that tomorrow I can go to morning devotion. So I said, okay, I live in a small compound with my sister. It was only one single room.
Okay.
Yeah. So we said, let's sleep. So that day I didn't sleep. I was I was reading something on internet. So I didn't sleep early. Before I went to sleep, I said, let me check the rain before I sleep. And I realized that the rain has entered the room. So I called my sister, let's go out. She said we should stay. So we started to rearrange our things on top of table. And we sat on the table, chatting. So my sister climbed the table and watched outside. And she said, Joyce, we are all dead. I said, why? I should just get up and see. I said, no, I don't want to struggle. She said I should try. So when I got up, I saw outside the whole place is like sea. So I said, God, I said, let's pray. Then we prayed. I called my mom. I said, you have to pray. If not, you won't see me again. So we were there. We started speaking in tongues. I said, let's sing praises. Because they say if the thing is out of hand, you should sing praises to God. We did all that. Still,
the whole outside was flooded.
Flood. The table removed. We have to jump inside the water. And our place, we have something like a shade. So if you stand on our...
Your head was submerged in the
yeah,
water.
so you have to hold something for us to breathe.
Hey.
Yeah. So, I don't know. We were there. I've asked for forgiveness of my sin because I know I might not make it again. I asked for forgiveness of my sin. I said, God, forgive me. Everything I've done. If my name is in the book of hell, please remove it.
Wow.
So we were there. I don't know what to do. I just don't know what to do. We were there. I was just praying, God, I know I will die. My sister managed to climb the wall. And she said...
So by this time, you're still in the room?
Yeah, no, it's a small compound.
Oh, so you're outside of the compound, but the whole compound is flooded?
Yes, even we have 4 freezer. They are on top of the water, full with pure water. They are all on top. Our bags, everything. The whole place was congested. We don't know. So I would just hold on to the ceiling. This place was paining me. I said, God, will I die? Something just said I should just go down into the water and die peacefully. No, I said, no, I'll fight. I will not die. Then we were smelling petrol. I said, hey, petrol. My sister said, yeah, it's true. So my sister was on top of the wall. I wanted to go there, but the fridge and things has blocked me. So I don't know what to do.
What were you holding on to?
We have like something like shade.
Oh, like a shed?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I hold on to that thing. If I leave it, I'll start drinking the dirty water. And this place was paining me. My sister said, Joy, is false, but I don't know what to do. So I said, God, I prayed again. I said, God, I know I will die, but please, I don't want to go to hell. That's what I said. I was there. I said, what will I do? And I remember I go to Winners Chapel. People used to give testimony about our bishop calendar. I remember the calendar. I swim inside. The whole room was flooded. I don't know where the calendar is. So I managed to locate where, and I saw it was wet, and I placed it on my head. I said, God, let the God of Oyedepo save my life. I was there. I don't know what happened. Before I realized I was where my sister was. What I could remember was she was trying to help me climb the wall. But I said she should leave me. I would do it by myself. I managed to climb the wall. I realized that I was naked. I said, God, the people were climbing the wall. Everybody on top of the roof, everybody was walking on. My sister said, don't pass there. I said, leave them. By this time, you can't ask them to not pass there. When the people say, go and let's go, we should give them way. Me too, I sat on the wall. If somebody wants to come and pass, I would just did like this. The person who passed, we managed to walk. I was doing like this on the wall. We managed to climb the top of the roof. We walked some more. We are trying to go to Adabraka. And there is a man coming from Adabraka.
You had no clothes on?
Is there?
You had no clothes?
No. But I was not even thinking about that one. There was a man coming there. I said, hey, my sister said, this man too is coming from Adabraka, where we are going. I said, maybe that place is safe. Let's go there. And the man stood beside me. I said, brother, can you help me? And he said, yes. I said, are you sure? Are you very sure? He said, yes. So should I jump inside the water? He said, yes, I should jump. And I jumped, and he carried me to Adabraka, naked. And those junkie boys, they were holding my buttocks, they were touching me.
Even in the chaos, they were still misbehaving.
And I asked the man to go and bring my sister too. So that's what happened in Brit.
Oh. Right. How do we make sure we don't do a TV program and ever talk about this again? Now, you see, I know that natural disasters will happen and everything, but you know, you guys and engineers are saying, now listen, the amount of rain that fell, even though it was a lot, with a good drainage system, should be able to clear the water, you know, a lot more without causing such floods. I mean, you are into safety. I mean, are they just talking, or is true? What's the picture?
Okay, Nana, in fact, let me be honest and say that this discussion, sometimes personally I feel quite exhausted because it's becoming like more of a talk shop. We keep talking and we don't see anything being done. Flood disaster is, let me say, June 3rd is not the first. In fact, so many has happened over the years. And I tried doing or conducting a little research on flood management. And you'll be surprised the copious reports and researches that, I mean, agencies sponsored by either government, non-government agencies, and even other nations, the United Nations, are sponsored just to have this report peculiar to Ghana.
Wow.
And the causes and the recommendations, they are almost the same. It runs through all the reports that I've gone through. So if anybody brings up a discussion and it's about we discussing the causes, and I can tell you we are going back. The authorities or whoever matters in this particular discussion, they know the causes. They know them. It's just about, I think, leadership. There's lack of leadership in terms of the various institutions.
The magnitude to solve it is so big that, look, I might as well not.
You know, safety in itself, okay, is what people say is quite expensive. But you'll be also amazed if I tell you the amount of money we are losing when we have to go through this kind of disasters. So we shouldn't always look at the other side of how much it costs to get things done. But we also look at how much we are losing, and we are losing a lot. Okay, so I think that argument, or those who propound such argument, do not really come to me in terms of positivity. We need to get it done. Flood, let me probably concentrate on flood. I would say the causes, and to a larger extent the recommendations or how to, getting it solved, needs a multidimensional approach. So that meaning that we can't use just one simple approach to solving it. So it also means that in probably allocating funds to solve it, we can start from somewhere. But Nana, like I said, we don't seem to have even shown any form of commitment. Okay, and the Bureau of Public Safety, we are drumming this out that we seem to kind of make it secret in terms of investigation report. We need to demystify that myth. Anytime we have national or public disasters, we set up committees, they investigate, and the report never comes out. All we hear is a short press conference indicating that the investigation is completed. And I can tell you that the Bureau of Public Safety even wrote to the Ministry of Interior demanding for a report. We didn't even get an acknowledgement to our letter, let alone the report. Because the reason why we sought to argue for such report to be made public is that, Nana, today, if we were sitting here, we just pick the report and we can hold people accountable. Because I know the report comes with timeline. Then we know that if the report says that let's do this, then we can know what happened. But the report is shrouded in secrecy, and nobody knows what needs to be done. So we are all kind of conjecturing that we need to dredge, we need to do, if we need to dredge, what is the timeline? I heard one of the committee members today saying that the timeline was that we need to finish the dredging before the next rainfall season, that is June. But I also heard from the authorities that we are 30%.
I even had 20.
So it's really worrying.
I even had 20%. But I'm going to take a break, and then when we come back, this conversation will continue. But some of the things that we need to do, indeed, if we want to stop floods, I don't know who is going to be bold enough to tackle it. Don't go. Okay, thank you very much for staying. And there's lots of people who are not getting signals. And I've gotten one from BBN. And I don't know what BBN is closer to, so that I can at least give you a number close to where you are, but I'll find it. I know Koforidua is struggling, so Koforidua, call this number 024 474 8874. 024 474 8874. Give them a call, and then they will come and help you. Spintex, your number is 026 577 551. 026 577 551. And then there's another number again for Spintex, which is 026 577 7579. 026 577 7579. Give them a call, and they will come and they will guide you through how to reset your decoder. But let me come to Joyce. Did you lose any friends, any family? Do you know people you knew who did not make it?
Yes.
A lot, or?
Like about people that I know, about 5.
Wow. What happened to your house? Did it get burnt or just flooded? And
yes, flooded, that's all. And the roof got spoiled, destroyed.
Are you still living there?
No, I'm not.
I mean, if the rains are coming, do you like panic if the rains are coming?
Yes, of course I do.
Have you like spoken to like a clinical psychologist to try and help you through? Or
when the thing happened, Kolebu people, they came to talk to us. So
the health of it?
Yeah.
Wow. Is your sister alive? She made it?
Yeah, she made it.
That's right. One thing I know is that, you know, the Ebri Togo range, you know, the water that comes down the hill have to find the Odo River somewhere, and then it comes. At the moment as we speak, because we have gotten richer, the whole hill is sold. Everywhere on that hill is sold, and it's sold to more than 2-3 people. Every plot of land belongs to 2-3 people. They build, they pave the land because, you know, they are rich. And as it comes down, if you're driving up to Pediasi and you look at the degradation and the houses coming up, we are actually compounding to the problem. So, what is the method now? what is the method now?
Well, let me quote one of the committee members. I still want to stand by.
Stand on. Raise your voice.
They recommended that buildings that were built on waterways needs to be demolished. Okay, in one breath, I seem to agree with those arguments, but on another breath, look, engineering and science have gone far. Okay, that sometimes you can re-engineer what we have now to that, because water is water. How you direct it is where it moves. So we need to look at the aspect where urbanization and development has also taken over certain aspect of our lives. The engineers are well versed to do some form of re-engineering. But most importantly, it is very worrying that our law enforcement agencies or our institutions, the town and country plan, those who give permits for these buildings to put up, are still giving the permits. And that is where we are. They are still giving the permits. And I remember the issue of fuel stations came, and some were earmarked for demolition and all. But I don't know where we've gotten to with that task. So the issue is that law enforcement agencies need to be up and doing. Because Nana, I am not mandated to stop anybody from building here or there. Because anybody who puts up a building needs a permit. The issue is that who granted them those permits? Are people being held to task? Are people being held to their own responsibilities? See, because it's all about allowing the systems to work. Okay, so whatever building we've put up now in terms of waterways, yes, some can clearly not do anything about it. It needs to be cleared off. But the science has evolved, because look, like you said, flooding, even in the US, they do experience flooding. But it's about our preparedness. We need to re-engineer, and it costs a lot, but we can, like I said, we can look at the cost involved when disasters also strike on us. So
let's hear what the mayor has to say with regards to the state of affairs in terms of flooding.
Standing better than the days of June 3rd. That the commitment to make sure that we remove all obstacles, the silt and dredge, the Korle and the Odo, to ensure water will flow whenever it rains in Accra, will continue and continue unabated. That is my assurance on behalf of government to the people of Accra, and indeed the whole nation, that the people's capital is ever safe than before. You are witnesses to the fact that last week we had 3 or 4 days of severe rains, and the city was able to withstand the circumstances and the aftermath of the rain. That is 40% of the work that needs to be done.
Better standing than we were last year. Bureau of Public Safety.
Well, I would say the statement was made before we entered June. Probably we need to take our time, because I'm not trying to sound like a doomsayer, but I think we need to take our time. We need to appreciate that a lot more needs to be done, so that we don't think that just the dredging of the Odo River, which is 20 or 30% done, is enough to accommodate or prevent any other flooding. Other than that, it will just pass by, we just celebrate the day, and then we go back to sleep. But a lot needs to be done, from poor sanitation. It will interest you to know that the committee advised upon what I heard today, that they needed to get sanitation officers and also sanitation courts. But I think the AMA boss also said that the sanitation officer, they have only 78 for the whole of Accra. Okay, so they are under-resourced in terms of personnel. Those are some of the challenges we need to be discussing, and not to sort of pat ourselves at the back that, oh, we've done well, because there's a lot, there are challenges. We need to bring those challenges to forth, because safety is a shared responsibility. Yes, our institutions need to do their part, but we as citizens also need to do our part. If we don't open up and educate so that we know what we also need to do from our side, then it will be more of a one-way affair. So I think they need to rather open up and share very good information for us to help us. Organizations like us can also help to educate. That is why I am much more on the report, because if you don't share the report, how do we help to educate the Ghanaian public? So it's something that we need to look at.
Josh, in terms of help, police, NADMO, fire service, soldiers, from the time you saw the flood, in the compound, when was the first time you saw an official coming to help?
Even I have a police friend. When the thing was happening, I called him that he should call his people so that they will help us. He said, okay, I should relax. I called him again. He said we should relax. Later, he said he called one taxi driver to come and pick us. But the taxi driver said that he parked at the filling station. And when he was calling the number again, the number was not going through. So I don't know if the taxi driver has died or survived. I don't know which one.
So the time you opened your door to see the flood, what was about what time?
That I didn't check the time. Yeah, it could be 8:39.
9. Yeah. When was so let's say from 9 o'clock, the time you saw either a policeman or a fire service man, what time?
That was when almost everything was like okay.
So like the following morning?
No more, like 12 that way.
Midnight?
Yeah, midnight.
That's a long response time, isn't it? Right, or?
Well, unfortunately, we don't have, we are not able to compare the response time as against the June 3rd one. But let me just say that this is the first time we're having such a twin disaster, fire and flood. So I want to probably acknowledge that our emergency service providers sort of experience this for the first time. Mm-hmm. So as much as we know there are some loopholes here and there or some lapses, we need to also commend them for probably doing what they did on that day, because it was the first time they experienced such a disaster. But I am interested in the fact that they also conduct a risk assessment or an evaluation of what they did, and then they can speed up, because we are not saying that disaster should happen, but should it happen, how can we need to increase their response time. I think the previous time we were talking about the ambulance services and their response time. So it cut across all other emergency service providers, the NADMO, the fire service and all. So I think it's a learning curve for all of them. It will become worrying when we sit down on these happenings and another, God forbid, but something should happen and we don't learn anything. That is where it becomes worrying. And so we think that as institutions, they need to be up and doing, they need to work, we need to see them work so that we can also support, because it will become more of going around the circles. We keep talking and the day passes and then we go to sleep, but it shouldn't be so.
Right. As terrible as June 3rd was last year, in other countries, you still get in your car, get on the bus, get on the train and go to work.
Yeah.
I mean, people face typhoons and hurricanes and stuff like that. So what are we going to do if it was a, don't want to say real disaster? This was more like a neglect disaster, things we didn't do that came to bite us. But if it was like a typhoon or an earthquake that happened, genuinely we are saying that, look, we are not prepared for that.
No. That is the case. We are just not prepared for such, let me say, serious disasters. That is the indication. So it also tends to question our preparedness for such disasters and our commitment to safety as a country. I was discussing with some friends, I think when Manchester and West Ham were preparing to play the last league match, and they had a bomb scare. The match was postponed, and they had to make sure that everything was in place before they could go ahead with the match. And I was asking, are we that prepared? You know, because it questions
safety or nothing else.
Yes, it questions our commitment to public safety. I realize that in this part of the country, we only talk safety when a disaster strikes, and then we all try to salvage the situation. We talk about it, and then we leave it as that. We are not that proactive. We tend to apply the knee-jerk reaction. So somebody can comfortably predict that next year we'll have another disaster. I think last year somebody said, oh, this year we'll experience another flood, and it's sort of coming to pass. So people sit comfortably and predict, and you are so sure that it will come to pass. But in other jurisdictions, you don't find it that way. And like I said, probably the media can help so that we can demystify this myth surrounding reports. Nana, we have had various disasters, the Melcombe, the Malamata shooting, even the recent one, the boats that sank, I think, I've forgotten. And even this very recent disasters. We set up committees, the report do not come out. But we as a country is benefiting immensely from the 9/11 disaster that struck the US. They set up the committee, the report came up, and today it is informing modern policing. That is what we are saying. So it's more about trying to, we the organizations, the non-governmental organizations like us, wanting to help. But if we don't bring us into the fray, we'll not be able to do so. It also boils down to commitment from our leaders, and we need to hold them to task. Otherwise, we'll still be practicing the knee-jerk reactions of the reactionary approach. So,
Joyce, after the disaster, you know, you guys in that community, maybe have you come together to find a lawyer to find out, look, do we have a claim? Can we, you know, maybe the states, to find out what rights you have?
No, it's not.
Yeah, I don't say there is. I'm just trying to say, you know, to demand something. You never know. Maybe the state has, you know, neglected you or haven't cleaned the gutters. You paid your taxes, the gutters haven't been cleaned, and therefore, if the flood has come, then maybe it's the state's fault. Nothing. Bryce, could that be that was the problem? Say, well, it's enough for me to make case closed.
Well, it's not really the case, but today something very funny happened. You know, we still have victims who have still not been compensated yet. And I was happy when you asked if he's seen a psychologist also, because that was my concern. I think one of the interviews that I saw on set, the person said he or she felt like committing suicide because every day he thinks about the things. So yes, the flood, the disaster has happened. We've tried to salvage what we can. But we should also know that there's a disaster waiting in terms of the people, the victims that were involved. Because if they don't seem to get help from anywhere, they can do the worst. So it's not about just leaving them to their fate. We need to engage them more and more often. It's also not just about giving them something to say, this is the token from us. But like I said, they need to be engaged. We can get the services of the victims like we are doing now to educate. They've been through it.
Let me, did you get anything from NADMO or?
Yes, I get bow. I got bow and what? Blanket.
A bowl and a blanket?
Yes, please.
Metal bowl or plastic bowl?
Plastic bowl. Even it's not strong, I use it for only once and it breaks.
Whilst others are getting 10,000 Ghana cedis. So you imagine how the distribution is going. Others are not getting anything at all.
Wow.
Yes. So that is where we are.
A bowl and a blanket?
Yes, please.
Oh, is it the state? Should the state provide the therapy in instances like this?
It's a public incident. It's a national disaster. The states have those resources at their disposal. So Yes, other state, other non-governmental agencies can help. Yes, but this is a state or national disaster which the state.
No, I know multimedia was there.
Yes,
you know,
we did some donations and
donations
all. So more organizations did their part, but I think the state agencies need to help in that aspect because we are Ghanaians and we belong to the state, so they need to make those expertise available to talk them into not doing anything unto us. Like I said, they are still assets. We can still engage them in form of public education. Because if I've been through it and I'm telling you what I've been through, you appreciate it more than probably somebody who have not really experienced that disaster. So we shouldn't let them be just be on their own. We need to engage them. That's unfortunate.
Let's hear what the NADMO boss had to say.
Last year, the Odo River was silted. The Korle Lagoon was equally silted and jammed with waste. And all this prevented the free flow of water into the sea. We have so many drains. The Nima drain, Accra Academy drains, Malam Junction drain. These are all drains that are not having the free flow. If you go to Malam Junction, there is a filling station that has blocked the river. Total filling station. Accra Academy, there is supposed to be a major drain under the road at First Light. That major drain, which even though it exists, is not connected to the main water course that is coming in front of Accra Academy. So with all these things I'm citing, not well connected and silted, there is no way we will have a free flow of water to the sea. And those areas are always flooded because of these reasons I've assigned. So come to think of it, floods can come, but our ultimate objective will always be that when they come and go, we should save lives. Nobody should be affected. And how can we do that? We can only do this. We can't prevent the floods. We can only mitigate the effects of the floods.
Is that what NADMO is supposed to do?
Yes, NADMO, our objective is not to, we cannot prevent floods. We can mitigate the effects.
So the disaster must take place before?
No, mitigating the effects doesn't mean you should wait for the disaster to come. Mitigating the effects of the flood could be getting in, if we have early warning of an impending downpour, and we are able to caution the people in those flood-prone areas that this is going to happen and we're likely to have floods, move out of the area. We will save lives. You don't have to wait till the disaster comes, the water floods the place before you move in. You move out, caution the people, assist them to move out of the area into a safe haven before the floods get in.
That's a hard truth, isn't it? That's the hard truth. Good evening, Nana. I love your program. You know, our leaders only talk a lot and no action taken. Tona, we need action. Brown from Pando. And then, let me catch one more. This one says, in fact, after watching and listening to the plight of some of the June 3rd victims, my heart is down. I don't think we have done enough as a nation to curtail another happenings of such disaster, but I pray never again. Shipman in Atonsu in Kumasi. I wish to see one person in authority to gather political, moral, psychological, social, spiritual, and economic courage to marshal water harvesting project for at least all public buildings in Accra only. This would cut flooding in the city by at least 33%. From here, the nation would encourage that person to extend it to cover all structures in the city of Ghana. Until when can our laws promulgate in haste take their full length? Joe Abutia. My sister, so have you let bygones be bygones, or you are going to go back and find out, see if you can claim something other than a blanket and a bowl?
Okay, Minister of Children's and something.
Yeah. Minister of everything, I call her. Gender, social protection, women, name it. Minister of everything, yeah.
Yeah.
I know you later.
Yeah, she gave us 300 Ghana each.
Okay.
Like for 3 months, 100 Ghana for every month for 3 months. So, I don't know what. They say we should come and write our name, what you've lost, and so we did, and they brought 300 Ghana. So.
But sometimes, even though the problem is much bigger than that, you realize that we because of indiscipline, we will choke our own drains and stuff like that. Even though that's not what floods the whole city, but locally, it can cause major disaster for us. And if the neighbor comes to pour rubbish in there, you never pick up a phone and call the police to say, look, he's flooding, because otherwise the other neighbor is going to kick you out. If you call
the police will not do anything.
Right, we just want our rights, but as for the responsibility, they dare not come and ask us, just give me the rights. Apart from that, forget it.
And indeed, I think part of the problem emanates from us as citizens, and we need to also take a bite of the cherry, because we can't just be blaming authorities alone, because when it comes to, I spoke about poor sanitation, and you realize that most of the drainage that we come across when we are desilting contains all manner of goods or products that probably comes from us. And in this sector, you try to correct somebody for wrongdoing and you are maligned. You are, why do you want to correct me? But I think that is where the sanitation officers comes in. Sometimes if we can't correct ourselves, we need to enforce the law. The bylaws are there. Let's enforce the bylaws. If we hear that the sanitation officers are on their feet, arresting people or disciplining people for the wrongdoing. I mean, discipline has got to do with so many forms. There are so many. Sometimes I can even just call you and probably query you verbally, and probably in that form educate you. If we hear that something like this is going on, then there will be some form of sanity. Okay, so as much as the onus lies on us as individuals to do the right thing, I mean, we also need to put people who probably put us in check. And it still comes back to the sanitation officer that I spoke about. We need to see them work. Because, for instance, they are popular, the Odo River that we are desilting today, we still have people defecating, opening. And we can't say that, they can't say that if they don't see anything at all, we can't go there and discipline those people. But it stands to reason why, or it stands to question where actually they are focused on or focused at. So,
do you have like a flood survivors association, so that once a year you go to church and have a sermon as a memorial sermon?
No, we don't.
You see, in my opening, when I was saying that, they always say, I'm primitive because I go back in history, but they do that to remind themselves not to happen again. Just so that that event should never happen again. It's reminded and reminded and reminded. Because if in the next 2, 3, probably 10 years' time, you probably mention this event and a child will say, what are you talking about? Because it's erased from history. And therefore, the tendency to repeat that mistake is very, very high. So maybe you should start. Form a memorial so that every 3rd June, just have a 1 hour sermon for all those who passed, just to, you know, remind and then stop yourself from it happening again. And, you know, when you come together, you're able to demand from the local authority that, listen, this thing is getting choked, and come and clear it. Because if you alone go, like you're saying, if you call, they won't mind you. But if it's a collective thing, who knows? Maybe you may get a response from it.
Yeah, I think it's a laudable idea. One of the best forms of education is when people try to share personal experience. Okay, so it's really in line. If, like I said, we shouldn't just abandon them or just give them a bowl or some money and think that we are done with them. We can really engage them a lot. I mean, the victims, the surviving victims, we can engage them, and they'll go a long way to help us in terms of our public education. Because aside the enforcement, one of the major things that we lack in this country is public education, and we seem to not to have the resources, but we have them now. They are available. They are ready. I don't think that she will decline wanting to apply herself or apply herself in education. But it's about how well we engage them. So it goes back to the authorities. We should not let them let them go scot-free. Let's engage them because they have stories to tell.
But Joyce, I must say you're a very brave woman, I'm telling you, because I know people who by now would have been in a psychiatric home completely. Because it's just such a frightening, you know, writing your will, you know, forgiving your sins. I mean, staring at death right in the face, not because of what you've done, but, brave woman, keep it up. We're going to go take a quick break, and then when I come back, one of the things that my brother's talking about, waterways, and all of a sudden, the new craze in Ghana is that if you have a bit of money, build a filling station. So you find a patch of land, no matter where it is, you build a filling station. And I think all the land that are left seems to be the wetlands. So all the wetlands are now being converted into filling station. What is GNPC saying about filling station? We take a break, and when we come back, we'll hear that. Thank you very much for staying. Let's get an insight of what GNPC is saying with regards to filling stations all over the place.
A lot of measures have been taken to make sure that we tighten the safety and integrity of our fuel stations, especially in crowded cities. Also, to solidarize with the situation that happened on June 3rd, the National Petroleum Authority has committed approximately 1 million cedis to refurbish the Benz unit in Korle Bu, so that into the future, when we get Benz, at least we'll get a place for treatment.
Well, in the palace you say Unsempa. The palace you say Unsempa. But this is a good evening, Nana, my noble king. The gentleness of Ghanaians are at times found in their dressings, but not in their environment. All we know is to make perennial and perilous environment, which is very abysmal and awkward. So do our sanitation laws. So do our sanitation laws active? Hey, Ghana. This is from Prophet Wisdom in Sefi Arinso. Prophet, good evening. If the laws are working, we will know. But I know some of you are struggling with regards to your decoders which have gone off. Amasamai 0244 851 793. 0244 851 793, and then La Paz 0243 561 843. 0243 561 843. Yes, give them a call and they will come and help you with your decoder. Filling stations. Bureau of Safety, I mean, I don't know, what's the craze about filling stations? And sometimes you find that they're a bit too close to residential areas. But so what? If they are going to abide by the safety, does it matter where they are? You know, that's where you're torn between. Sometimes they feel they're just too close, in between two houses. And then one says, well, they can be anywhere so far as they are abiding by the rules. But are there some regulations to say, no, because you're a filling station, be a little bit away from a residential area?
Yeah, no, there are regulations as to whether it's being followed. You see, the siting of filling station, the reason why there's sort of pandemonium is the exposure, the risk it poses. So as to whether the regulations are being followed is something that is probably for another discussion. But it is said that before a filling station is sited, it needs to have satisfied the Ghana National Fire Service, regulations, EPA, town and country planning. There are copious processes that you need to go through. But it seems to come out that probably they are a bit more for them to achieve or for them to comply with. But they spring up and nothing is done. What the Bureau of Public Safety probably question is that, do they perform any risk assessment before such filling stations are sited? It doesn't seem so, because there are times the filling stations spring up and then you have markings upon their buildings that we are due for demolition. The next thing you see is that the filling station is completed and it's in full operation. So you ask, what went in? You get it. So it's sort of, then all these things, the public keeps seeing these things. So that confidence or that awareness is there. They will tend to agitate and also question why there is this siting of filling stations. So it behoves on the GNPC and whoever matters to do due diligence, because and it's still springing up, and you don't seem to know the craze of filling stations springing up nowadays, and it's really worrying.
Mr. Joyce, what word of encouragement would you have for your brothers and sisters who survived, even though, yes, you have a bit of trauma, but you're holding yourself well? So whatever it is you're doing, maybe you want to share it with them. Maybe they have to come to your church. Maybe they have to believe in God more. Maybe they have to think of safety more. I'm giving you the last word.
Okay, what I have to say is God has given us a second chance. The first thing they have to do is to give their life to Christ, to be grateful to God. That's all.
Well, that's not all. That's a lot. It's a big thing. You've had a second chance, whole second lease of life. There are many people who did not make it. You may not be bigger than them, richer than them, taller, fairer than them. However, somehow they didn't make it and you made it. So if you have your second chance, then by all means, you must live a much, much better life. And it goes for me to this message, which says, and I personally do not think we Ghanaians have learned any lessons from this June 3rd disaster. What has changed so far from the time the disaster will happen till now? Please, can you tell me? And this is from Brown. And that's what we're saying, that if we had a second chance, but even those of us who were not even close to it, still, you still have to live a much, much cleaner, much, much more responsible life than we are doing it. But that spirit of never again, we need to find it. The spirit of never again. Let us find it. Thank you very much for watching. And tomorrow, as I always say, we'll be back to do this all over again. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much.
Okay.